Welcome to our first episode of Gut, Sweat, and Shears, the podcast. We are here to give you guys a little bit of background on why we decided to actually start this podcast. My amazing co-host is my husband, Terrence Smalls of Custom Cuts Barbershop. I currently own a salon called the Sassy Factory, and we decided to come together to actually create this platform because I do believe that there are conversations that contribute to society and the world and everything through the eyes of hairstylists and barbers, don't you think?
Oh, most definitely. Honestly, we get to see the best portions of people because a lot of times when they come to the shop, they just want to let their hair down, let loose, and just have some conversations that they typically don't have on their jobs or with their family sometimes. So
Yeah, I know. We were talking one time when we were home, and I was excited about us putting this together. And I'm like, oh, what are we going to talk about? And then we got so deep into conversation, not realizing that there are so many things that derive from the salons and barbershops. And I think people don't see this either. I think they don't see husband and wife doing things together. It's usually either you do this and I do that, and I have friends and you have friends, but I enjoy that we not only get to play together, we get to work together too. So I'm excited.
exactly, I am too. And, I don't know if you remember this when we got together. You always used to say, you know what, we're going to be viewed one day as that power couple, couples that do things together, and as long as we're doing things together, hey, can't go wrong.
I know. I think this, like I said, this platform is good for so many reasons. Definitely because we're husband and wife. We view things from the eyes of woman and man, and then stylist and barber, and then just, different point of views just from being humans. I was about to say like different ages because
Oh, so now you want to, or this early into the podcast, we're bringing in our
I'm
ages.
just
Nah.
saying your beard tells it all.
I mean, I grade early, because
Oh.
I look very young.
Okay. Okay. Right. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm excited. So I don't know. You kind of want. I don't know if we really need to give them background on how we got started. I don't really have. Well, maybe it does have something to do with the podcast. Not how we got started. I'm sorry, how we met. Because the funny thing about that is that's beauty industry related.
Exactly.
People ask me this all the time. Like, how did you get from Jersey to Atlanta? Like, how did that even work? And I'm like, oh, well,
And
you know.
let me just make sure. Yeah, we good.
Um,
But yeah, of course, it was all about hair because the Bronner Brothers Hair Show cruise, and I mean, of course, that was the best cruise I've ever been in all my life because now it led me to you, and to be in the same profession and meet each other on that particular platform. I mean, it couldn't be no better because honestly, you were definitely what I needed and what I wanted. Yeah. Yeah. Because I asked for it. Sometimes they say be careful what you ask for because you might just get it. And I got it.
Okay. I hope that's a positive.
Of course it is. Look at us.
Oh
How
my
many years
God.
later, and we still smile when we see each other, and we still have fun. You can't ask for nothing better than that. That's why I'm so excited about this podcast that we're about to do together because we're just going to share our experiences. We're going to, let people know from the truth of a male and female barber and stylist, and just the current events that's going on nowadays, especially nowadays with what's going on, positions that people are put in because of COVID and things of that nature. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited about it. I'm glad that you asked me.
Yeah, I asked him.
Yes,
I asked him.
she did.
But that's good stuff too, because I think people don't realize you can have two different point of views and still have healthy differences of opinions. Because we do it a lot. People feel like, oh, you and your husband, y'all get along. I'm like, yeah, we get along to the highest degree, but we have disagreements. And just being able to see what that perspective is from, because I talk to women all day. Like you typically talk to men all day. You better be talking to men all day.
I talk to some women just like you talk to some men, but it's all good. Yes, the supply guys that come through, the delivery guys.
They do.
See, I remember all of those.
But how about the women that come through with the sons looking for some daddies?
Hey, they got to get the kids' haircut.
Them single women looking for daddies.
Yeah, they do. And not all of them are single. Just to let you know.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
That's another episode.
Later on down the line.
Right, later on down the line. But yeah, like I just wanted to jump on here and have this quick intro just to introduce people to having the opportunity to plug into this kind of platform. And what I'm excited about also, I'm always excited, but what I'm excited about also is it's not only going to help point of views help stylists and barbers have like understand the different point of views and really hear like authentic conversations between people who've been in it. Because I'm 24 years into this industry. How many years are you?
So now you want me to bring up the age thing again?
Well, you got to tell people your credit.
I've actually been cutting hair since I was 8. Officially in a barbershop.
Here we go.
Officially cutting in the barbershop started on Saturday mornings. Back in Mount Vernon, money earning Mount Vernon. I started cutting when I was 11. And here I am about to turn the big 50.
Dated.
So, yeah, it's dated, but that's a lot of experience. That's a lot of great experiences. That's a lot of, just interacting with people. Because if you think about it, how many people that I've interacted with in that particular span of years in the barbershop, even outside of the barbershop, but so many clients that I've met, so many people in different walks of life, situations that I've seen. I mean, that's a great experience. Yeah. And I tell my people, and some of my clients I've been cutting, now I'm going on the 3rd generation. So that's something beautiful.
That's deep.
Yeah. That's when it gets deeper to me than just a barber and a client experience.
Yeah.
Because I'm a part of their family, and they're, just basically a part of mine as well.
Right. I was saying that one day to a client. I was saying like, it's crazy how you can work in certain industries and people will unfortunately forget about you, depending on, if you don't have like human interaction, maybe like your favorite mailman, you might be remembered, or just somebody who connects to a person on a daily basis. And just to be able to, not only we connect to them on a daily basis, we're part of a lot of photos. Like we're a part of wedding photos and birthdays and vacations, just stuff like that. And that's going to live on. 'Cause like, can you imagine just someone showing a picture to their great grandchild of them and their wife's wedding, and they and then the grandchild is like, dang, like they ain't great. Look, dang, can I curse? Okay, no profanity, not yet. Anyway, it's brand new, but like, oh, you was sharp, like they like their hair or like their haircut, and it's like, yeah, man, this kid named Terrence used to cut my hair.
Yeah.
It's crazy to be a part of people's special events like that for lifetimes.
Yeah, you live on that way. Just like, have artists who've passed away, we listen to their music. It's going to be endless. We're going to be able to listen to their music from here on out. So they've left their legacy. And us as barbers and stylists, we do the same thing. We leave our legacies because we impact so many lives. And like I said, generations to come. And we'll be a part of those pictures. And, this day and age, with all the new technology, we're going to always be a part of their lives. Because now they can get to go on the apps, see us, see pictures, see what we've done, things like that. So,
and I mean, from the perspective of entertainers, like we're trendsetters. A lot of times we collaborate with entertainers and we create images that help them move on and live on in households to come. And those trends come back around. Like it's certain hairstyles that people sit in my chair and get today that are like old school hairstyles. You're talking about certain haircuts, T-bars and from TLC, and just Halle Berry cuts. Sometimes people are like, oh, I want the Halle Berry cut and stuff. Like, but it's all us. Like it's all the glam squad that help with that imaging, and so that lives on.
But the funny thing about that is, this new generation, they come across, Kwame. Right?
Oh yeah,
you remember Scoop and Scrap when they had the Gumbies and things like that?
No, Scoop and Scrap. I know Snoopy. Snoopy had a Gumby. Not Snoopy. What was his name? Not Snoopy. What Gumby? Gumby had a
Gumby. Yes, yeah. Gumby. Same thing.
Yeah.
But I get kids nowadays. I want the Soulja Boy. I was like, no,
not
we've been cutting that cut. That Soulja Boy didn't create that. Yes, he did. Okay, you say you want the Soulja Boy. I'm gonna give you the Soulja Boy. But that's really the Kwame. You know what I mean? So do you want me to dye it too with the polka dots? They, you know, the new generation think that they create all of the stuff. All it is coming back around.
Right.
Because Kwame got it from cuts back in the days. When I seen some historic pictures, those cuts, they just repeat themselves. Just like the fashion. It repeats itself. So, and like you said, by us being in the neighborhoods, being in the community, we start things. We help start things, and then we help change and, you know, change the trend, like you said, along with professionals or along with entertainers. We're a part of that whole, you know, what we'd say, not genre, but genre.
Yeah, that genre.
Yeah, we're part of that. So I look forward to it. You know, we have a lot of fun with it, and we're like local celebrities.
Right.
We are. We're like local celebrities.
Yep, I like it. Have you ever been, now that, you know, this just popped in my mind, have you ever been asked why you started cutting hair? Because I always get that question. I don't know if it's a hairstylist thing or a but people ask me all the time. Like, and I think because when clients come in and they, you know, if they come in at 4 or 5 and they're like, how long you been here? Because they're tired. They just got off of work. So they're like, man, I'm glad I'm off work. And how long? And I'm like, well, shoot, I'm still at work. Like, exactly. while you relaxing and settling down, they're like, how long you been here today? And I'm like, oh, since 8, 9, like that kind of thing. I know that's like 4 hours after you go. But for me, I'm like, I've been here since 8 or 9. And they're like, wow, like they feel like you got to have a diehard passion to be doing it. And you must have had a dream all your life. And so when they asked me that question, like, well, when did you know you wanted to be a hairstylist? Like, how did you know? I feel like my answer is always like a surprise because they're like, did you always want to be a hairstylist when you were a kid? And I'm like, no. Like, you did it? It's always a shock. And I say it that way on purpose because I think I like the shock factor. Like, you did it? Because they feel like you're so good at it. Like, how could you not grow up wanting to do this? And I'm like, well, I think for me being from Newark, New Jersey, I just wanted to make sure that I was successful because I didn't see a lot of that. Like, I didn't see a lot of women who were successful. Unfortunately, you come from that type of environment, you might see women who more so beaten down by like just environmental stuff, choosing the wrong man, having more than one kid, having multiple kids that they can't really take care of. So they never really looked successful to me. Even my own personal childhood, I just didn't see real successful women. And so for me, I'm like, I just want to be a strong businesswoman. So I used to think it was like me being in a skirt and a suit and carrying a briefcase, like I was going into an office, because that's really all I saw on TV. Back then, when I was growing up, you would only see success not really connected to entrepreneurship. You saw it connected to corporate. And so on television, you saw it connected to corporate. Whether I was watching Living Single, you saw Maxine was the successful one coming in with her briefcase. She was a high-powered attorney. Or you might have seen The Cosby Show when you see Felicia Rashad and Bill Cosby, like they're all, you know, they're doctors and lawyers, corporate. Everything was corporate. So to me, success looked like it was corporate. And so all I could think of is that I wanted to be in business. And when I had Qua early at 18, I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'm not about to go off to college because my circumstances just wasn't going to allow me to have that kind of support to really, really help me with that. So I'm like, okay, so what do I do now? I always knew how to do my own hair because my mom stopped doing my hair about 9th grade. So I would do my own hair, and people would always ask me in high school, like, Ikina, can you do this or do that? And I didn't want to stay in the house doing hair. I just wanted to be out cheerleading and all that stuff. And so when I had her, I'm like, well, people always tell me I know how to do hair, so maybe I should just go to cosmetology school. And I did that. And when I went to school, my cosmetology instructor, it was something, her name is Curry. I'll never forget Miss Curry. I don't know if I've ever even told you this story, but Miss Curry would always feel like it was something in me. Like, she would always like look out for me, give me an extra hour here or there, let me clock out and sign back in, but let me pick up hours. And so she was like, you know, do me a favor when you stop here. Don't just stop, you know, don't go to school and then just don't go any further. Don't stop just behind a chair. Like, do something different. And Miss Curry was a middle-aged Black woman, so I don't know what kind of success she saw in her life. But for me, I'm like, I always remember that. I will never forget. People be having like that one teacher or person. I will never forget Miss Curry, who said, don't stop just here and don't just get behind a chair and stay there. And so after going to school, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is my route to business. And I didn't know it was going to lead me to a podcast and being an educator and,
Exactly.
you know, owning a salon and all that. But that's really my story. Like, I don't know if I've ever told you that, but people would ask me, "Have you always, no."
But
I just knew how to do it, so circumstances pushed me into it.
exactly. You know what? I would say to go back on that, Miss Curry seeing that it was a gift of yours.
Mm.
Because, I mean, not just to say you knew how to do your own hair and now you automatically have a gift. I believe in that. A lot of people, well, most people are given a gift, and a lot of times they never discover it. But your hands, those are your gifts. And not to mention, of course, going into business and things like that, because that was a want. But I believe that was a gift, just like with me.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting hair was a gift. It wasn't something that I planned on doing. But, you know, me sweeping up at the barbershop when I was 6 years old, that was more of a opportunity to make some money. You know me, I like to make money.
Oh, yeah.
So
I like when you make money.
I bet you do. But honestly, that was an opportunity for me to make money. And then, and going back, this is how I started cutting hair. I had a cousin who came to my house. My father had some clippers at the house. And he was like, cut my hair. And I'm like, man, I don't know how to cut any hair.
This was during you sweeping up at the shop?
Yeah, I was 6. But at this time when he came to the house, because he'd been asking me to cut his hair. And I was like, I sweep up at the shop. I don't cut hair. Well, you work at the barbershop. Cut my hair. So what I did was try to remember what I seen the guys at the barbershop do, you know, with the clippers, the comb, and things like that. And then I imitated what they did on my cousin's hair with my father's clippers. And then I was cutting and I'm like, hey, I kind of like this. And then my cousin said, it looks all right. You know, he didn't have no complaints. You know, we were kids, so anything looked better than what he had. So,
he probably had a hard line.
You know he did. Not just a hard line. He's probably jacked up. To this day, we probably laugh at it and be like, man, what in the world? That was your first cut? And you thought it was good? But at that point, getting back to the money, you know what? I can start cutting some hair at the house. So now when I go to the barbershop, what do you think my agenda is? Paying attention to everybody cutting hair. So now I'm going to the barbershop, I'm asking questions, paying attention to them. When I'm not sweeping up and running to the store for that mom or that dad who needed something from the store, I'm standing by the barber. So now they're looking at me like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just trying to learn how do you cut. So most of the time in my life, what I learned how to do is learning by watching. So I picked up a lot of things. And then, of course, I kept doing it at the house, got better with it. And, you know, basically here we are today. I've cut a lot of people. It got to the point of the owner of the barbershop said, hey, I heard you cutting a lot of my clients at your house. Why didn't you just ask me to cut hair at the barbershop? We have an empty chair. So he said, what I'm going to do is going to have you cut hair on Saturdays and I can teach you the right way. So, I mean, I couldn't have no better teacher. Couldn't have a better experience of learning at the barbershop. And then what I learned is a lot of times success, you don't have to study it. What I mean is it's not provided to you in a book. It's not provided, you know, given to you like that. A lot of times all you have to do is follow the little clues that people leave. So what I made my business to do is follow the owner because I knew at that point now I wanted to open up a barbershop and have my own barbershop. So I told him, I'm going to do everything that you do. And he was like, what you mean? I said, I want to be a barbershop owner like you one day. And he was like, okay. So I said, I'm going to do everything you do as an owner so that I can learn. And then one day I own my own barbershop. So, you know, time went by, 19 years old, graduated high school. And at this point, I was going to transition to move into Atlanta. But before that, the barbershop owner, now you got to remember, the rest of the guys at the barbershop were older than I were. So he needed a manager. He pulled me to the side like 2 months before I was deciding to move with my family to Atlanta. He said, I'm going to do something, and the guys here at the barbershop are not going to like it, but I think it's best for my barbershop. And I was like, what is that? He said, I'm going to make you the manager. I said, manager of what? I said, manager of this barbershop? He said, yeah. And I was like, what about Mike and Barry and Cliff? They're not in position. They don't want it. They don't want it like you do.
Wow. And
I don't think it would be in good hands as if it was, you know, in your hands. I said, you know, that's a great thing. But I said, in 2 months, I'm leaving. He said, man, why didn't you tell me? Actually, I was going to come to you and tell you that, but you told me you wanted me to be a manager. But I said that taught me something, that I was doing I was on the right track, basically, following his footsteps. You know, of course, coming to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's where I got it from. I know you look at me to this day. I mean, Tim Sachs, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot. And then to this day, he still keeps in contact with me. He's the first barber that I've known to officially retire being a barber and lined himself up, put himself in a position where that barbershop income provided him the resources to be able to retire. The 401ks, you know, they say we don't have 401ks and things like that. We really have access to that because we cut the people who create those things. And see, that's what a lot of barbers and stylists don't realize. We can utilize our resources that sit in our chair on a daily basis, ask them their professions, get to know them, learn what they do for a living, and we can apply it to our lives. Or not only apply it to our lives, we can apply it to other clients' lives that are looking for certain things, and they may not know who to meet. So that's why they call us like the meeting point. Our barbershop is the meeting point. Call up your barber to find out who sells houses, who sells cars, who's doing finance. Because majority of the time we come across those people. And I've always thought that I've always been the one that, hey, call Terrence. He has a number to this. He has a number to that.
That is true.
I just got to learn how to monetize that.
That's another conversation.
You know, that's affiliate stuff.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But yeah, so yeah, I think this is going to be a good thing because you just made a lot of valid points. Even connecting people to people, like we're tangled all up in how the world turns.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. So I think we need to. Why I just draw a blank like that?
And that's rare for you.
I'm excited. On that note, we're gonna go ahead. We're going to go ahead and close this one out and get ready for the next episode. Thank you guys so much for joining the first episode of Gut, Sweat, and Cheers, the podcast, hosted by myself, Keena, and my amazing co-host, Terrence, who's also my lovely husband. We'll be back with a lot more episodes. I think this is going to be something really, really good. Hopefully you guys join us. Like and subscribe to the podcast.
Yes, please do.
Share it as often as you can. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Have a good one.